Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, everyone. And welcome to a chill episode. And today, we're going to talk about the cicadas.
The Locust Preachers. We were recording the last mixtape, and you had this sudden moment of realization that you don't remember anything from Dark Souls 3 at all. So I thought we would do this to jog your memory. Let's reverse this, okay? I'll ask.
Yes,
what are they? What are the Locust Preachers?
Okay, so they come from the deep, so they must be insects of the deep. Also, Sophie, they tell you the poems, and you're like,
Yep,
oh
the
my
poems.
god, this is about... But now it makes me think Armored Core, because Armored Core also tells poems through AI pictures about the characters. So Armored Core did it better because it's more relevant. I don't know why they're here, like, they're just insects. I guess it's cicada season.
You got it, yeah.
Okay, go on. Tell us the truth now. What are they?
No, but I think that you're right when you talk about cicada season. The locusts plus the Londor pilgrims plus the angels to me came across as this way to like kind of put the Gertrude thing a little bit back on track after it sort of goes nowhere in the base game.
Oh yeah, Gertrude, that's right. She was there too. I think we found her in a cage and we were disappointed.
Gertrude talks about like, she's dead, but like you find references to Gertrude spoke with an angel. And it led to this like angelic faith in Lothric, right? And that in the base game is associated with like kind of classical Christian artwork of angels. So it's like people with big wings and feathers everywhere. Like when you meet Gertrude, this is like a flashback to 2018 when you're like, no, it's Gertrude. When you meet Gertrude, she's in a cage. The cage is full of feathers. And then above there are these like three big golden knights, and they all have these big like angelic wings. So you get the impression that like the angelic faith that Gertrude has is like, oh, it's actually that like sort of classical idea that we're familiar with of like what an angel is. And then the Ringed City comes out, and there's the lady at the start, and she's like, oh, maybe I'll see an angel in the Ringed City.
Yeah, she did though, and they shoot lasers.
Yeah, you remember the angels?
Yeah, I remember because I actually got through the angels before they nerfed them.
And it's Ibis all over again.
Hello, we hope you are having a wonderful weekend. If you are a cultist, you know that What, Where, Why is a series we created for Patreon. If you are interested in hearing the uncut version of this episode, and other episodes like this, please consider joining patreon.com/SinclairLaw. Thank you so much, and back to the podcast.
What else do you remember about the angels? Where did the angels come from? Like, how did you get rid of the angels?
The creepy people from the cocoons.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
They're like broken open, and there's like this worm kind of sticking out the top, like
yes.
And it's got these like malformed wings on its back, and it's projecting the angel, right?
Yes, yeah.
You know how you said it looks like a cicada?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a cicada molt? I'm guessing no, because you just froze.
But I feel like I know what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like that. It looks like the cicada's skin is there, and it's like empty, and the new cicada's kind of crawling out the top, but because it's just molted, its skin is quite like it hasn't hardened yet.
Yeah.
And its wings are sort of like slicked back. It's not ready to fly yet, right? That's what they look like. And I think you sort of like, you need to just like kind of bite the bullet a little bit and make a connection between the angels and the Locust Preachers, right? Even they're called Locust Preachers, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know how you said like, oh, Locust Preacher came up to you and it was talking and then it attacked you, right?
Yes, yeah.
There's also Locust Preachers that are buried in the ground.
Yes, I remember. Yes. Creepy heads.
Cicadas also do that. When you hear the like brr, 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 of cicadas, they're usually like they've dug a little hole and they're going brr, 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 from in there.
That's amazing.
I think it's fair to assume that like they're much of a muchness. They're not literally the same thing, but they're much of muchness. They're connected, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So What do you know about cicadas? What do you know about their life cycle? They pop out of the ground when the seasons change. Super important in like Japanese culture, less so over here. So like, I'm looking at Ring City. Idea of the Ring City is like, it's the end of everything. The Age of Fire is ending. Something else is happening now. And that's heralded by the cicadas. That's the imagery they're going for. It's like a new season is beginning. It's like, winter is ending and summer is beginning, or whatever the hell season cicadas wake up in. I don't know. The cicada season's starting, everyone. And that's what they're going for. It's like this transitional phase. And it's like, oh, right, yeah, they're hatching. And like instead of like the song of the cicadas, it's like the preaching of the locusts. Who, like, they're popping out of the ground and they're like, let the feast begin, everyone. Don't fear the dark. Come to us, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That kind of feeds back into the Gertrude thing in a way that doesn't really make a great deal of sense, right? But that at least sets up that, oh yeah, if those are the angels Gertrude saw and Gertrude communed with them, they were probably saying what the Locust people were saying. So they were like, Gertrude, fear not the dark, Gertrude.
Yeah.
Let the feast begin. And they were giving her these like little speeches about like all these people who challenged the dark, but was it like, they failed, but blah, blah, blah. They're basically doing the Car thing from Dark Souls 1. If they're like, and you thought about this dark thing? It's worked out pretty well in the past. We're going to try that again. What I just explained makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that Lorien and Lothric also do the whole like, dark, that's cool. Let's just not link the fire. I think you're sort of like maybe onto it in that the whole thing about Lorien and Lothric is that like they're supposed to be the ones who link the fire, who like burn themselves up to keep the kingdom going. Gertrude isn't. So it's possible that like the conflict, like it's just Lorien and Lothric, no matter what they want, we have to do what they say because without like the whole point of the kingdom is Lorien and Lothric. So we can still serve them while fighting back against Gertrude. What Emma says, the lady in the room with the dancer, like she's pleading with you, like, please tell Prince Lothric, like, he has to be a lord. So there's this sense that, like, the kingdom of Lothric is defending Lorien and Lothric, even though they know they don't have their interests at heart, because Lorien and Lothric need to be alive for this thing to work. Gertrude's maybe not relevant to that, but it's still really, really weird that like they basically want the same thing. And I think honestly they probably just rewrote what the angels were going to do.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Do you want to quickly go through the Locust Preachers little rhymes that aren't rhymes? These little poems?
Yes, but now you gave me this vision where it's like, oh, please, Lorien, tell him blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but isn't he doing the same thing as Gertrude? What about her? Wait, we have a daughter? What?
Well, to be fair, like, what? We have a daughter. I mean, one's run away and one's a dragon. Like, I don't think they're keeping a great deal of track of it. I'm a Locust Preacher, and I'm here to say I'm into the abyss in a major way. So the rhymes are, behold the city, we kindred, but like two eyes which gaze upon one another, fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin. So that's like, they make a big point in the item descriptions, like people and locusts are kind of the same thing, because like the locusts arose from the dark, humans also arose from the dark, like in Dark Souls 1. So sort of introducing, hey, we're on the same page here. Learn to look past appearances. Deep down, we're all weird locust monsters. Okay? So they say, one was a wayfaring knight on an endless forbidden search. Only the abyss granted closure, if not reunion with his beloved. That's Alva, Seeker of the Spurned. Alva, Seeker of the Spurned? Alva's the cat in Dark Souls 2. Alva, Seeker of the Spurned. Talking about him trying to find Carla. Sorry, I mean Zuli. He's trying to find Zuli. I don't remember either. It's been 7 years. He's trying to find Zuli. He doesn't find her. He finds... No, fuck, this is a confusing thing. It's Zuli in Dark Souls 2, and he's still looking for Zuli, but he finds Carla instead. Okay?
Right, okay, yes.
Yeah, okay, but... great, good, we're good. Okay,
I think, yes.
And it's like, one met the dark with learning, but in the end he learned his knowledge was wanting. The world began without knowledge, and without knowledge will it end. Does that not ring clear and true? Does that not ring clear and true, Sen? That's Orbeck of Vinheim. For this, any of this to make sense, you have to assume they're only talking about characters in Dark Souls 3, because it's like, well, there's a big hat Logan.
Oh,
I think you just have to assume
that?
it's all people in Dark Souls 3. Orbeck is the
Sophie.
sorcery trainer that nobody remembers except my friends who want to fuck him. That's Orbeck. He had a sexy voice actor. He's not really that useful,
shrine,
and if you
right?
give him enough... Yes, if you give him... No, he stays in the... No? He's in the shrine for a bit, he's in the woods. If you give him enough scrolls, he dies in Lothric Grand Archives. You have to leave in 10 minutes. I'm trying to get to the end of this. Okay. Time for another one. One poor girl slew her own kin, but even so was embraced and enveloped by the abyss. 'Twas a comfort that neither moon nor sunless sky afforded her before. Who's that?
Gertrude, Gwendolyn, Guinevere, Yorshka,
Cirrus. You're close. She's in the same place as Yorshka. Cirrus of the Sunless Realm, because it's moon nor sunless sky. She's Cirrus of the Sunless Realm. She's the Dark Moon Lady in Dark Souls 3. If you talk to Rosaria and then you talk to her, she hates you. Most people do that accidentally because they don't realize it's going to happen.
I remember the Bloodborne guy that protects Rosaria or whatever, which is the Leonard, which is like the Lothric, not
Well,
Lothric,
keep him in mind. He might show up. Keep him in mind.
Okay, let's go.
Okay,
yes,
we've got 3 more of these to go.
Yeah.
And so she lived in fear of the dark, of things that gnawed at her flesh, and yet the abyss has yet to produce any such creature.
Rosaria?
Irina.
Oh shit, I forgot about her too. Yeah, Irina.
Yeah, and when he's like, but the abyss has never produced any such creature, at this point he starts to sound like he's subtweeting people. He's not mentioning anyone by name, but it's just like, oh, yes, she said this, but the abyss hasn't produced any such creature. Send.
Oh
he's probably got them all blocked, but then he has an alt account he's using to read their timelines. What a bitch. What a bitch of an insect. Okay.
Yes.
Either last or second last one, depending on how you interpret it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, despite his weighty armor, he lived in fear of a delicate thing little more than a girl. Where fire resided, shadows twist and shrivel, but in the abyss there are shadows none. Again, doesn't understand how shadows work. That's Egon of Kareem. Because he's got really heavy armor and he's frightened of what will happen to Irina. Good, you remember one character from Dark Souls 3. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. He's a baka. I remember we talked about this.
Whatever. He led that led to one of our first ever episodes we did together, where Egon's climbing on top of the cathedrals and ripping gargoyles off so he can wear their heads. Yes.
Oh, good times.
Yes, remember that. Remember the good times before all of this happened. Okay, there's one more. One more.
Yes.
But that one, it's not technically used in game, but they did record it, and it does have subtitles.
Okay.
And it's, of all the fingers, not the ones from Elden Ring, or Armored Core, of all the fingers, he alone was embraced by the abyss, for he was human and ne'er a grub.
Yeah, Leonard, because he's a finger.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, he's the one that doesn't turn into a grub. Because he refuses to be reborn. He refuses to be reborn because he's got scarring on his face, and Rosario to go, I'll rebirth you and your scars will be healed. And he's like, no. And I don't think they ever really explain why he says no, but he doesn't say yes. He doesn't do it. Other ones get reborn. Yellowfinger Hazel, if you beat her, she goes and she gets reborn, but she gets reborn too many times, turns into a grub. Doesn't happen to Leonard, so that's referring to Leonard.
That's because Leonard is reasonable. He's like, once you do it once, you can't just do it once. You're going to keep doing it until you turn to a grub. He knows.
He knows it resets on new game cycle, so he's stuck around till the Ringed City, just going into new game cycles.
There we go. Did you know that Jester and Leonard prove that Bloodborne and Dark Souls are in the same universe because they have hats?
Well, Sin, that's interesting because I was doing some research and I discovered a hat is actually a real item of clothing.
What?
I know. Why is no one talking about this? And that really makes me wonder if that's further proof that all of the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne and Elden Ring and A Hat in Time all take place in the same universe.
Sophie, wait a minute. Are you wearing a hat right now?
No. Okay, here is my review of Shadow of the Erdtree, and we have 90 seconds left. 1 minute left now. I just switched over. Okay, so I think that Shadow of the Erdtree, in terms of its like dungeon design, map design, enemy placements, encounter design, boss design, is the best thing that they've done.
Okay.
Like, it's everything about it is like, if Elden Ring is like, you know, an 8 out of 10, this is like a 10 out of 10 in those aspects of it. But another thing that it does is that it starts, it sort of makes like important events from the base game. It's like, oh, that's actually tied to the DLC area. That's all tied to this like Realm of Shadow place, which is like fine when you're playing the Realm of Shadow. But then what that means is when you go back into the base game, it's like, well, why is this here? Like, what's the point of this place now? Because, like, we were sort of operating under the assumption that, like, the underground area is the biggest casualty here. That, like, okay, there's this underground area in Elden Ring, and it's full of, like, people who, like, worship the dead, and they venerate horned beasts, and they wear horns on their heads, and it's, like, there's references to, like, the Numen there, and it's like, oh, okay, clearly this is what they mean by, like, you know, in the distant past, like, horns were venerated, and, like, you know, the Numen came from outside the lands between, and, like, Marika is this, like, paranoid fear of death and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, this all sort of lines up. Particularly, like, the thing is that, like, Marika's Erdtree is literally growing from the ruins of that city. So it's like, okay, the city fell. Marika builds a new kingdom that's literally growing out of the old one. That makes sense. All of that is kind of, like, retroactively shifted to being part of the Realm of Shadow, right? So it's like Marika's actually from this Realm of Shadow place. Spoilers. Like the horned people, like the horned things, all Realm of Shadow. Marika's motives is all Realm of Shadow. Numen, Realm of Shadow, we're assuming, even though you find all the Numen stuff underground. Yeah. And it's just a case of, like, I don't give a shit that they changed the canon, like, whatever, because all of these games are always being constantly, like, rewritten and changed up to the last minute. Like, I've seen all those old versions of Bloodborne like a month out from release, and they have different characters and different writing in them. That's just how it works. Yeah. I don't mind, but it's like I was saying, like, all right, if we do accept that this is the new story that they're going with, yeah, within the Realm of Shadow makes the Realm of Shadow like a more significant, interesting place. But now it's like, well, what's the underground for now? Like, I don't dislike it, but it's like, this doesn't seem to matter anymore. This is just like a place. It doesn't feel like it's part of history. It just feels like this is just like a place you go at one point and then you just leave again when you've got enough.
I have to go to a place now. But,
you do.
We'll talk about this more, actually.
Are you going to play the game?
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen.
The game, you lost it.
I said the game first. You thought about it when I said it.
Yes, when
so you lost.
Loses the game. I know I lost it first. Yeah. But you want to make sure everybody else in the room loses it.
There's no one else in the room.
Everybody was listening. All the 4 people lost the game. Okay, Sophie, well, and we have to record about Madam Web, and there's a lot of interesting things that we're going to record about.
Blah, 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 Elden Ring, I don't know how I feel about it, you know, it's okay, you know, a little disappointing. What we have to record about? Madam Web.
And Reborn, 5 a.m. Reborn is coming back, you guys. It's coming back. Okay, well, thank you so much, Sophie. That was amazing. We should talk about Dark Souls 3 some more. It's actually a good game. Maybe throw a little Bloodborne in it. And some Empty Geist. Empty Geist 2 is coming. It's coming.
Views expressed by Sinclair Law do not necessarily represent those of the Snack Covenant LLC.
Don't forget to dislike and then subscribe.
A small business for tax purposes.
Yeah, an Armored Core. I have a whole thing I wrote about Michigan, okay? He's a very deep character, so we're gonna work on that.
Okay.
Alright. Okay, thank you, Sophie.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.